Hey, it's Bobby. Welcome back to day number 17 of the Spring into Mindfulness program, or what I was doing before. Welcome back to now. Welcome back to the present moment. And we're a little bit of more than halfway through what is planned for this particular program. I may continue it on. I'm getting really good feedback from a lot of people that I appreciate, and it, we'll see. It may go a little bit longer than the 30 days that are planned, but I want to make a little shift in the program right now. Along the way, I've been talking about and hinting at the idea that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But a lot of the videos that I've recorded have been about different ways of helping us navigate the human experience, the two-hand stress disintegrator and some of the breathing techniques that we've used. Those are all about navigating the experience. And the reason that I do that in the work that I do and the coaching that I do, I've got three phases to the process. And the first is intervention. And intervention is all about removing the blocks, whether they're limiting beliefs or worn out mental models or disempowering mindsets or traumas or phobias, or it could be any number of things that are keeping you from making your way easily and effortlessly and gracefully through the human experience, because those are things that can draw us back into the illusion that Einstein was talking about when he said perceived reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. I think that's the quote, albeit a very persistent one. Perceived reality is an illusion. I'll easy for me to say. Perceived reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. And it's easy to get lost in the identification that we have with the egoic body mind. It's easy to get lost in the illusion that we are separate. It's easy to get lost in the illusion that we are human beings that occasionally will have a spiritual experience, as opposed to our true identity as spiritual beings having a human experience. And if you're joining this already in progress and you missed the source awareness meditation that I did probably about 4 or 5 videos ago, that's either worth revisiting or checking it out if you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, because that's designed to give you the experience that we are awareness, that we are the space within which all of this occurs, through which all of this is known, and of which all of this is made. And when we make that shift, a couple of things happen. One is everything still occurs just as it did before. I mentioned on one of the videos that my dog Daisy one night when I was recording at 2 o'clock in the morning was tired. She wanted to go to bed. She can't get into bed by herself because she's 15 years old, and she needs me to carry her in there, and she likes me to be in there with her. So she's not lonely, and she likes to snuggle and be warm and all of that. And she got a little cranky. It was like, dude, it's late. It is way past my bedtime. We got to get out of here. And she kept barking and barking and barking and barking. And I got triggered, and I ended up kind of losing it a little bit with her. And immediately I cracked up, because the irony of being here recording a program called Spring into Mindfulness and then getting so totally and completely lost in the illusion was something that I just found hilarious. So anger still arises, frustration still arises, stress still arises. All of those things will still occur, but the shift that you make when you come from an embodied state, that you realize that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, those now become pointers to us. They're neither good nor bad. They're merely arising. And because it's not your normal state anymore, once you become firmly ensconced in your center of authenticity, the human experience becomes one that is filled more with joy and love and connection and appreciation. Doesn't mean those other things aren't still going to happen, but now what occurs is they don't feel right. They don't feel normal, as opposed to the way that a lot of people are making their way through the conditioned human experience, where pain and anger and frustration are things that we need to snap out of or suck it up or power through it. No pain, no gain. Compartmentalize, just stuff it down and show up and fake it until you make it. And I'm going to suggest all of that is conditioned bullshit. It's not a judgment if that's where you happen to be right now. It's merely an invitation to consider that's not the way that life is meant to unfold with you. That's the conditioning. And it starts from the very moment that we can speak. It comes initially from our parents and our aunts and uncles, and then teachers and coaches, and then Madison Avenue and marketing get a hold of us, and we're bombarded with 3 or 4 thousand marketing messages a day that, you plus six-pack abs or the right amount of money in a bank account or a new car or six-pack abs or the right relationship or a better job or 3 strokes off of your golf swing or any number of things equals you 2.0 or 3.0 or 4.0 equals a better you. And then you can finally be happy. But we know that's not the case. I mean, you don't know. All you got to do is look at any magazine that focuses on the life of celebrities to see the people who we perceive to have it all are not necessarily the happiest people on the planet. And in some cases, they're some of the most miserable people on the planet. And they're still using substances to numb themselves to the experience that was, in most cases, probably the achievement of the goal that they had been working on their entire life. And I merely want to suggest to you, I merely want to offer you an invitation to consider that's a pointer, that we're going about this all wrong, that we are not human beings that occasionally have this awesome moment that is beyond words, that beyond words is who we actually are. And a friend of mine at the Adams Center gave a presentation a while back. I think it was called Step into No Thingness. And what he was pointing to in that particular presentation was who we are is not a thing, it's not a noun, it's not an object. Who we are is much more of a process. We are not the knower, we are not the known, we are the knowing. We are the space inside of which all of this is occurring, through which all of this is known, and of which all of this is made. And his presentation, Step into the No Thingness, pretty clever, had a subtitle, which, if I remember correctly, was Embracing Your Sacred I Am, or at least that's what it was intended to be. But rather, what it ended up being, because of a typo when it was sent out to all of the members, was Embracing Your Scared I Am. And the person who put the email together didn't notice that, because scared isn't it's not a typo. It's just a different word. The A and the C were transposed. And what an interesting little happy accident that my friend Bud played with throughout his entire presentation. Are we showing up as our divine I Am, our sacred self, our soul, our spiritual being that's having this human experience? Or are we showing up as our scared self, the egoic body mind that takes things personally, takes everything personally, that feels the need to hold up a mask to say, here's who I am, and may tell a little white lie here and there, may use a little bit of puffery to make things a little bit different than they are, might get incensed at criticism. Because why? They're taking things personally. And the divine I Am never takes anything personally. So over the course of the next couple of videos, we will explore that a little bit more deeply. And if you haven't, I don't know if I've said this yet, if you haven't listened to that source awareness meditation that I did about 3 videos back, I would definitely suggest that you go revisit that today. It is about a little over an hour long. It's a guided meditation. I think it probably works best if you are listening to it with earphones, maybe laying down. I've got a lot of people who say they listen to it every night and they fall off into the most blissful, deep sleep. That's not the purpose of the audio program. It's not meant to put you to sleep. But if that's what arises, that may just be a signal that you're in need of some deep rest. And so it's taking you there. It is wisdom whispering to you through my voice. But it's really, I very definitely got my own mind and ego out of the way, got my rational mind out of the way, and just allowed that to flow and allowed wisdom to speak through me. There's a line from a poem that I love by a poet named Hafiz, and it says, I am the hole in the flute through which Christ's breath flows. Listen to this music. And when I channeled that particular piece that I created for you guys, I very definitely got into the mindset of being the hole in the flute and just getting out of the way and allowing wisdom to speak through me. So I'm going to encourage you to go back and look at that. I will put a link to that in the comments of this, so you'll be able to find that pretty easily if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to that yet. So for now, I'm going to end this video, and we will talk to you tomorrow and take it a little bit more deeply. So ciao for now.